we talked about a lot of the latest news. There's someone else who likes to talk a lot about the latest news, and that is a gentleman by the name of Jason McClellan, who works here for Open Minds. We always put UFO headlines up on the website to keep you up to date, and Jason comes here every week to update us on the latest, and he is here again. Jason, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, Alejandro. I'm Big JM, and I like to talk about the news.
All right, Big JM. Is that your new radio name?
It's not, but in honor of Big JD, our new friend, I thought I'd throw out the Big JM, but I'll leave the big to him. Anyway, let's get into the news, my friend, because I love talking about the news. This is your Open Minds News Brief for Monday, April 11th, 2011. The FBI unveiled The Vault, a new electronic reading room on their website last week. The Vault currently contains more than 2,000 digitized documents that are available for public browsing, and some of these files contain references to UFOs. One document that is getting attention from the media is a March 22, 1950 memo from Guy Hoddle, a special agent in charge of the FBI's Washington field office, concerning flying saucers that was sent to the FBI's director. As Fox News recently explained, the memo states, an investigator for the Air Force stated that 3 so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. They were described as being circular in shape with raised centers approximately 50 feet in diameter. Each one was occupied by 3 bodies of human shape, but only 3 feet tall, dressed in metallic cloth of a very fine texture. While this memo simply shows Hoddle relaying details provided by a third party, it is still noteworthy that such details are presented in an FBI memo. Another UFO file contained in the FBI's documents relates to a UFO that exploded over Utah in 1949. The Daily Mail details the FBI cable that describes how an Army guard, a policeman, and a highway patrolman, who were all miles apart, each saw a UFO which they said exploded over mountains near Logan, north of Salt Lake City.
Yeah, that the memos, everybody's getting really excited, but this stuff actually isn't new. Most of this stuff came out like in 1977,
right?
Including the Guy Hoddle one, it's funny these sites posting that this is proof of Roswell, because actually the documents never have been believed to be part of Roswell. And CBS wrote a story where they kind of said that these aren't new documents. They've been out, and they made fun of some of these other news sources, I think like the Daily Mail, and they said if they would have simply called the FBI, they would have found out that the new files are not the UFO ones, but other ones. But this is a much easier way to access the UFO files.
Correct.
And even though these don't relate to Roswell, and a lot of people think they've been, Bruce Maccabee, for instance, he's the guy who got these documents from the FBI in 1977. And he believes that the Guy Hoddle one about the 3 UFOs has to do with the Scully book, which we've talked about before, and Dreamy Draw, and that's been debunked as people saying that wasn't real, that was all hoaxed. And so people think this memo was people picking up the story that was hoaxed and then relaying that to the FBI, and they wrote a memo. But not everybody agrees that these are hoax, because in our magazine, our next one, June, July, I wrote about Aztec and the Aztec UFO thing, and this memo and that book are related to the Aztec thing, which people think may be real now, and there's some evidence of that we go over in the magazine, and the Dreamy Draw story that we talked about last week and is in on our website. That's all part of that too. So they may be real crashes, but not Roswell.
Right. And there are also files that talk about weather balloons.
Yeah.
Things attached to balloons.
Yep.
But this new vault that the FBI put up is a cool way to access, to search through files. It's just like browsing on the web. You type in a keyword and up come the files, and you can sift through those and read all sorts of blacked out things and have fun doing it. But it is interesting that they put it up, and it's also interesting to see how just quickly things can spiral out of control with people saying, oh, proof that Roswell happened.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because, there's a lot of better stuff out there. There's better evidence and stuff like that out there.
Right.
And, like you said, there's some good stuff in these files that people could pay attention to that is more interesting.
Absolutely. I'm still sifting through it myself, but there's some good
Mm-hmm.
stuff in there.
Yeah, and there's like their cattle mutilation
Right.
investigation, which a lot like other investigations where they conclude that it was probably predators. But if you look at the details of the cases they investigated, that doesn't seem to be the case at all.
Yeah. In other news, rock star Sammy Hagar continues to make headlines because of his extraterrestrial encounter claims. He was a guest on the HLN premiere of the Dr. Drew Show last Monday night, where he discussed his life of rock and roll, and he also discussed his extraterrestrial encounter. As he's previously stated, Hagar told the show's host, Dr. Drew Pinsky, "Call me crazy all you want. Anyone who says there's no one in the whole universe, we're the only ones, that's crazy." Hagar described to Pinsky the details of his alien encounter, which occurred when he was in a dreamlike state. In this dream, extraterrestrial entities communicated telepathically with Hagar. And as he has described before, Hagar explained to Pinsky, "I think it was a download-upload situation, like an experimental thing, like I was the guinea pig." So it's cool. I mean, these stories have been told by Sammy Hagar many times before, but because of the recent release of his book and the press circuit he's been on, these fascinating stories are getting more attention, and by the mainstream media.
Yeah. We talked a lot about that last week, and was it last week? I think, we talked about the other movies that the stars were talking about their UFO sightings too.
Yep, exactly.
No new ones in the last week, though,
Nope.
since those happened about a week ago, but I'm sure more will pop up.
Yep. Space exploration technology, also known as SpaceX, has already made history back in December when their Dragon space capsule became the world's first commercial spacecraft to launch into orbit and return to Earth safely. Not stopping there, last Tuesday the company announced plans to construct the most powerful rocket the world has ever seen. Not really, but since the manned moon missions. And SpaceX has named the new rocket Falcon Heavy, and the rocket will reportedly be able to carry roughly 117,000 pounds of cargo into orbit. And that's twice as much as the current space shuttle. The rocket has been designed to carry cargo, but because it meets NASA's current safety requirements, the rocket could also be used to carry humans into space. The company is aiming to launch Falcon Heavy in 2013 from California, with follow-up launches taking place in Cape Canaveral, Florida. And another important thing to note is that they're really pushing to make space more accessible, and to do that, they're trying to make spaceflight cheaper, more affordable. And they point out that the launches of this rocket will cost just $100 million a year, or per launch. And that's kind of sickening to say just $100 million. But compared to space shuttle launches, those cost $1.5 billion per launch.
It's a lot of moolah.
Isn't
it funny, though, that the future looks like the past? I mean, we're going back to rockets. We don't have these cool shuttles anymore. We're going back to these outdated-looking rockets. And I heard a friend of mine said that his friend who works for defense, or for a company, I think McDonnell Douglas, I can't remember, but that they were literally digging up rockets a few years ago and kind of back engineering our own rockets because they didn't know all the ins and outs of the manned space flights with the rockets, so they can continue that again.
Well, right. I mean, this points it out. It's kind of ridiculous, but this is 2011, and these guys are going to build the most powerful rocket, but the most powerful rocket since the moon missions.
Yeah.
And how long ago were those?
That was quite some time ago.
But this is what our cutting edge technology is doing right now, is something that has already been done. So
yeah, isn't it funny that I don't know, I guess when in science fiction, when people are thinking about the future, they're never thinking about budget limitations.
Oh, no.
That never comes up. It's, the future is, the space flight is so incredible and everything because, we've got the technology and the know-how. If we had unlimited budgets, in programs like this, I think we would be already at Mars and have some incredible. We could have the space stations of 2001. Those movies created those things because the technology and the know-how was was something that they had back then, and it's all a budgetary issue.
Well, we all need to transcend to the Star Trek world, the Star Trek universe, where nobody cares about money.
Mm-hmm.
Money has no meaning anymore, and people just do things for the greater good.
So I've always advocated that idea.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Baruch Blumberg passed away last week of a heart attack at the age of 85, shortly after giving a keynote address at a workshop on lunar research at NASA's Ames Research Center. USA Today explains that Blumberg helped NASA begin its search for extraterrestrial life and the study of the origins of life on Earth as director of NASA's Astrobiology Institute at Moffett Field from 1999 to 2002. According to the New York Times, the objective given to Blumberg and his team at the Institute was to answer the following questions. How does life begin and evolve? Does life exist elsewhere in the universe? And what is life's future on Earth and beyond? Blumberg was also on the SETI Institute's Board of Trustees, and before his time at NASA, Dr. Blumberg was heavily involved in researching viruses and developing vaccines, and it was this work that earned him the 1976 Nobel Prize in Medicine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, an accomplished dude. And
A lot of
sorry to
accomplished
see him
dudes.
go, but yeah, it's cool. He set up NASA's really set up their search for extraterrestrial life as much as they do, but kind of cool. Also in astronomy news, Christopher Taylor, an astronomy professor at California State University, Sacramento, also known as Sacramento State, delivered a public lecture last week on the topic of extraterrestrial life. His lecture, Searching for Life in a Big Empty Universe, discussed astrobiology and how science is being used to search for extraterrestrial life in the universe. Dr. Taylor pointed out that while life is unlikely to exist in harsh environments like the surface of Mars, through the use of spacecraft and advanced technology, NASA is now searching for signs of life on Mars below the surface. The topic of extraterrestrial life is becoming more common at universities across the U.S. and across the world. The search for extraterrestrial life is gaining support from mainstream scientists, and major research institutions are taking an active role. And more universities, like Sacramento State, are hosting lectures on the subject, which helps to spark the interest among students and encourages the next generation of scientists to open their minds to new ideas about life in space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, astrobiology's definitely really taken off.
And you know, something that I makes me giggle, not too many things make me giggle, but
I don't think I've heard you giggle ever.
I didn't say I giggle publicly.
Oh, okay. You giggle on the inside.
On the inside.
Good.
And on the internet. That's what LOL is. Not really. But is the fact that Word and spell check programs don't know the word astrobiology.
They don't? I guess I haven't noticed
They
that.
haven't caught up with the times yet.
Yeah, that's
Because
really...
astrobiology is fairly new.
I'll bet you Google knows it.
Google knows it.
Yeah, like if you wrote in your Gmail or something.
Oh, Google's
'Cause
wrapped
they're
up
on
in
the,
everything.
you know, boom, boom, boom.
I think they're involved in astrobiology and everything else. They've
Maybe.
They've got their Google Earth.
Yeah.
They've even got Google Moon. Have you looked at Google Moon?
Yeah.
That
it's
thing's pretty cool.
On the Google Maps, they had my address wrong because it's a brand new house in a brand new area. You know, it was dirt on the maps the first when my house was, I first moved in. And then it popped up where they had my house there and they had it wrong.
And you're a celebrity, an important guy. So I called them up and I said, listen,
no, you
this
didn't.
is not right. Fix it. No, I won't take
you
credit.
did
You
not.
did it. But go ahead.
You just right click and you say, hey, you have this wrong. And within like a day or two, boom.
That's awesome. I didn't know it was that
They
fast.
are very fast. They are on the ball, Google.
Excellent. Big fan of Google. Doing big things, those Google guys. Well, two scientists have written a paper where they present the hypothesis that extraterrestrial intelligences engaged in asteroid mining may be detectable from Earth. And these scientists suggest that watching for signs of asteroid mining could be a good job for SETI. These scientists explain if technological civilizations more advanced than ours exist in the galaxy, and asteroid mining is a common activity which underpins their existence, then searching for signatures of targeted asteroid mining is an appropriate activity for SETI to undertake. The paper that presents this hypothesis will be published in the International Journal of Astrobiology. That's an interesting one. Looking for signs of mining.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a stretch. It's kind of it's as silly as the radio signals to me.
Well,
but,
again, we pointed this out. A lot of these scientists are looking for topics for papers, and
yeah, I think you're right. Because come on, an asteroid. I mean, that they could build a craft that could fly is more likely than an asteroid, because an asteroid, the asteroids that are around us, you know, the ones that have come from very far away, are still pretty much in our solar system, and you know, it takes them a long time. They're not moving at close to light speed or anything. You know, they're not warping or doing anything that would make something move quicker than light, or like these possible technologies that ETs or other civilizations may have. So it sounds kind of silly.
Well, again, I think this is also projecting human behaviors and human ideals onto extraterrestrials. Number one, because we love to mine something until there's nothing left, and look where our priorities are. We're not going to the moon. We're going to an asteroid next. That's where NASA is focusing, sending us to an asteroid.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we want to do, is mine an asteroid, but...
You, not me.
Well, I don't want to. I'm using the collective we, but...
I want to go to Mars. I want to hang out with the ETs, man. I want to fly in a spaceship. That's my goal.
Well, and we should do
Give me a ride.
They're already listing all of the problems with going to an asteroid. I don't understand.
Oh, I know.
Doing it in the first place. Let's focus on the moon. Let's focus on Mars.
Didn't they see the movie? What was it we were talking about with Bruce Willis?
Yes. What was that movie?
Armageddon.
Armageddon, yes.
Yeah, going to an asteroid does not look fun.
Nope. They can go. I'll wait for the rocket to the moon.
Yeah. Fly me to the moon.
Well, and Sci-Fi's Fact or Faked Paranormal Files has been breaking viewership records. Last Wednesday, for the third consecutive week, Fact or Faked set a new series ratings record with 1.32 million total viewers. So those guys are having a successful run there, and congratulations to our friend Ben Hansen there.
Yeah, buddy, who we had on the show. I thought that was a great show too. It's very interesting. Some great stories, and he's a really neat guy, so it's good to hear, that their show's doing so well.
Yep, and again, it shows that this material, there's people are definitely interested in it.
Yeah, people can question, their investigation and stuff like that, but at least they're open-minded, enough to where they were really floored by the UFOs they saw out here in Arizona.
Right. And, I've got to give them credit, because unlike some of the other hunting shows like ghost hunting and things like that, shows where they hardly ever find anything, these guys do find things that they can't explain. And like with Jeff Willis when they were in Arizona, they capture their own UFO. Kind of cool.
Very cool.
So good job, guys, at Fact or Faked. Alejandro, that is it for the news. Be sure to check out these stories and more at openminds.tv, your source for UFO-related news. I'm Jason McClellan, your Open Minds news correspondent, and you've been briefed. Back to you.